You're watching It's Your Money with Brad Tafoya from Tafoya Barrett and Associates. And we're coming to you today from our home offices in compliance with Colorado Governor Jared Politz's stay-at-home order. Welcome, Brad. You have a nice living room there.
Thanks, Deb. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. You know, just because we're home doesn't mean we aren't busy, and I know you and your colleagues have been working really hard to understand the implications of the CARES Act that provides financial relief to individuals and businesses who have suffered financially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And most of us know about the one-time rebate payments and the payroll protection program, but let's start about talking about the rebate payments. What happens if I didn't file taxes in 2018 or 19 and the government doesn't have my direct deposit info?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're hearing a lot right now. So there are certain people who weren't required to file in 2018 or 2019, and they're curious how they're going to get their checks. And so actually, as of last Friday, the IRS has on their website, they have a new portal where people can go in and enter their deposit information. They don't have to file a tax return if they've never been required to. And that is live as of last Friday. They can enter that information. They also have a separate entry point for people who have filed in the past, but for whatever reason don't have their direct deposit information with the IRS.
I'm lucky I have money saved up for a rainy day like this emergency we're in now. What should I do with my rebate? Should I just sock it away or go buy a new car? Stimulate the economy?
Well, I mean, in some ways, that's the purpose of this. And I think it's going to depend on everybody's unique situation. I mean, with these checks, there's really, there's no requirements on what you can or can't do. The PPP loan funds, that's a whole different story, and people have to use those for qualified uses. And if they don't use those for the qualified uses, they could be penalized. But back to the rebate checks, some people are definitely going to need this for rent or to pay their mortgage or utilities or just ongoing living expenses. If you don't, and you have a rainy day fund, like you said, it might not be a bad idea to add it to that rainy day fund because we don't know how long this is going to last and how long your fund's going to last. So that's an option. I've even had a few clients and friends that have told me that they don't need this money. They're set financially, and so they're going to take this money and, like you said, put it back into the community by either buying stuff or making donations to charities. There's a wealth of funds out there right now that are available for people that aren't as well off. And so I know a lot of people are going to donate these funds as well.
Well, that's a great idea. There are a lot of other provisions that many people may not know about in this CARES Act, and one of them is changes in charitable giving. Can you tell us what those are?
Yeah, so one of the main change with charitable giving is that typically when somebody makes a donation, in order for that to be deductible, they have to be itemizing on their tax return. And some people don't do that because the standard deduction is greater than the itemized deduction. And so what part of the CARES Act did is it made a new $300 deduction above the line deduction. So even if you're not itemizing, you can get a deduction for those donations in 2020 up to $300.
All right, that's great. Now, what about expanded unemployment benefits for workers? What are they and how is that going to work out?
Yeah, so there's a lot of information we could cover there, but I'll just go over the essential elements real quick. And so what the CARES Act did, and again, this is the major stimulus act that was signed into law probably a couple weeks ago now, 3 weeks. I don't even know what day it is, but the recent CARES Act. And what it does is, for anybody, in addition to the regular unemployment insurance that people can file for if they're unemployed, in Colorado, that can average, depending on your income, anywhere between $25 a week up to $625 a week. Well, what the CARES Act did is it increased that benefit an additional $600 per week, flat $600 regardless of your income situation. So if somebody's unemployed because of the COVID-19, they can get their regular unemployment, which again could be $25 to $625 a week, plus an additional $600 a week. The other thing that the CARES Act is, it extended the normal time period that you can file for unemployment from 26 weeks to 39 weeks. So an additional 13 weeks there. So that's a great addition. And finally, the other main thing that it did, and this is called the Pandemic Unemployment Insurance part of the Act. The other thing that they did is they expanded unemployment insurance to folks that typically cannot apply for an insurance. So people that are self-employed, independent contractors, sole proprietors, those folks typically don't pay into the unemployment insurance system and are not able to claim those benefits later. And so one of the things the CARES Act did is it set aside a pot of money for those folks, and it's making it so that they can apply for unemployment insurance as well. As of today, that's still not available. The states are trying to get their systems up to date, trying to get guidance on these rules on how to make them happen. So it's not available yet, but stay tuned. It should be available soon.
What happens if I've applied for unemployment and my employer later receives the Paycheck Protection Loan to cover my salary? I mean, that's one of the things that has happened with our company. I haven't even received my first unemployment check, but we now have the loan in place to cover our paychecks. How does that work?
Yeah, so again, unemployment insurance is only available when you're unemployed and when you're not being paid by your employer. And so I think now, I actually had a friend that happened to today. She had applied for unemployment insurance, got the notification that she was eligible, and then her company applied for one of these PPP loans. And so I think what she's going to need to do is cancel that unemployment insurance and not accept it because she's now currently being paid by her employer through the PPP loan. So whether she has to go into the system and kind of undo all of that or just ignore that, I'm not quite sure. But I definitely would, be contacting the unemployment insurance office and figuring out what to do about that for sure.
Right. And what about withdrawing funds from an IRA and the requirement or the provision that you can waive minimum distributions right now? Because, I have a chunk of change in my IRA that I could probably rely on, even though 40% of it is gone after the stock market crash.
Well, that's a good point, Deb. And so one of the provisions that's a lesser known one right now, because we're all focused on these rebate checks and the PPP loans, which are all wonderful, great things. There's also some other stuff in there too. And so, the one that you're talking about is the CARES Act, again, made it so that it gives people the ability to take a distribution from their retirement account up to $100,000 in 2020. As long as that person has either been diagnosed with the virus, they have a family member that's been diagnosed by the virus, or they've experienced adverse financial consequences. And so one of those three things are the requirements for doing this. And so if somebody takes a distribution from their retirement account, normally until you turn a certain age, 59 and a half, you're subject to a 10% penalty. So this provision waives that penalty, so it's not subject to that 10% penalty. The next thing that it does is it allows people to take that distribution and use it. And then if they contribute that money back within 3 years from the time they took it, no harm, no foul, it won't be taxed. It'll be, you'll have missed out on that appreciation, but it'll be back in your retirement account. If they're not able to put it back over that 3 years, then it will be taxed. The good news is that taxability, that $100,000 or whatever they take out, would be spread over 3 years worth of tax return. So it's not all taxed in 2020. But like you said,
go ahead, please.
Most people's accounts are way down right now, and so it may not be a great idea to tap into your retirement account right now. With all these other benefits that are available out there, we're advising people that maybe it's the last place to look, because you're messing with your retirement then, and dipping into it now when it's down, at a very low amount is going to hurt you later. So just be talking to your financial advisor about that for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to know more about the details of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, contact Brad at tafoyabarrett.com. I'm Deborah Urota with the Local News Network.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you. Be safe.
You too.